Hello friends, today we have a very special guest for the Educators Talk. She is a physicist, mathematician and runs a very interesting channel called Tibees. I welcome Miss Toby Henry for the interview. Toby, welcome to the Educators Talk.
Hello, thank you for having me.
It's my pleasure because you are such a mathematical genius, physicist mind, and we are interviewing a mathematical genius for the first time on our channel.
Oh, well, that's a bit of a compliment. I wouldn't say a genius. I'm very passionate about physics, that much is true. But I think you and your audience are probably very passionate about that as well.
Yeah, right. And one more fact about Toby, she also holds the record of the YouTuber with the longest hair.
Yes, I do have very long hair. I can show it to you a little bit here on the camera. It goes down to my knees. It's not something that I show very often, but yeah, it's just something that I have.
She has even done some physics experiments using these long hairs, gravitational force, etc.
I've done a couple of experiments with it. Yeah, just a fun little combination of physics and long hair. It's probably quite unique.
So let's start the formal interview, Toby. My first question is about your passion for mathematics and physics. I can see you're quite passionate about mathematics as well as physics. It is obvious from the way you present those videos, the crazy style. So our viewers might be wondering, what is your specialization, mathematics or physics?
Yeah, so I did an undergraduate degree, that was in New Zealand at the University of Canterbury, and I did a double major in both physics and maths. So yeah, my undergrad is in both of them, and then I went on to do an honours year just in physics. Now, honours is something that's not totally all that common around the world, but it is in Australia. It can be a substitute for a master's, so it's like a 1 year, very intense program, and if you get good enough grades in honours, you can go and start a PhD, which I did also do. I started a PhD in physics, but stopped that after 1 year. So I would say mostly my specialty is physics, but to be a good physicist and to study physics, you need to also take a lot of courses in math, as well as some courses in things like computer science and even astronomy. So that's why I have a slightly broad background, because I think you need all those things to be a physicist.
Nice. So you are basically a physicist, but with a strong background in mathematics. Am I right?
Yes, that's true. Yeah. And math is something that I also find very interesting, and I don't think you can really do physics without some appreciation of math, because they are very related to each other.
Definitely. Physics is full of mathematics.
Yeah.
To prove something, you have to derive a hell lot of mathematical equations. Am I right?
Yeah, math is probably one of the hardest aspects of physics, actually, and something, I guess, a tool you really need to have before you can go and start thinking about the big ideas of physics. And I think that applies to theoretical or even experimental physics as well.
Right. So, Toby, let's move on to the next question. Your channel is almost 4 years old, and I guess there must be some turning point that made your channel so popular to the current level. So could you please explain to your viewers what was this turning point?
Yeah, so you might find it interesting that I actually have videos on my channel from 8 years ago. So my channel's actually very old, and it's older than 4 years, but for most of that time I didn't upload very often, and it was just sort of a hobby for me, just something I did for fun. It wasn't very serious at all. And it took me about 5 years of making videos before I had 100 subscribers. And I remember getting 100 subscribers and being very happy and very excited, because that felt like a really big achievement, and it was.
Right.
And then I think from 2018, that was a really big year for me. So I started 2018 with maybe 1,000 or 2,000 subscribers, and I ended with over 100,000. So it was exponential growth that year, and I think that I did a few things differently that year. I think I chose to take YouTube more seriously, and I realized that if you want to grow on YouTube, I think the biggest thing is consistency. So I went from uploading once every couple of months to trying to upload twice a week, or just being a lot more regular with uploading. So that really helped. And I also just made videos on good topics. So I think I really found a niche, so a very specialized set of videos that really worked for me, and I didn't feel like I was copying anyone. I felt like I was doing something quite unique, and I think that helped me grow as well. I think
I can see
when
that.
people start, and when I definitely start.
Yeah, I can see that your videos are quite original and unique.
Yeah, I was going to say when people start.
Yeah, Toby, what I say
Oh,
is that I can see that.
Go.
Yeah, Toby, I can see that your videos are quite original and unique. I cannot find such content anywhere else on YouTube.
Yeah, so I guess it is quite unique in that sense, and I think that has really helped me, because if you're trying to make videos that are sort of copying someone else, I don't think you can ever really be as good as that person you're trying to copy. And maybe that's the mistake I made when I first started, is that I was trying to be like other people. But once I started doing my own thing, then it really started to grow.
Okay, that's great. So the year 2018 was the turning point year, right?
Yeah, definitely. And if you want some specific videos that were the turning point, I think it was when I started making my exam review videos, because people were just very interested in exams.
Okay, but to be frank, I cannot watch such videos, exam-oriented videos. I get bored very easily. Anyway, that's great. Exam videos. So in year 2018, you started with almost 100 subscribers, and by the end of 2018, it was almost 100k subscribers.
Yeah.
Really, it was an exponential
very
growth.
exponential growth, I think, starting 2018, yeah.
So to be frank, you started your YouTube uploading 8 years ago, but you are not so serious. But for last 3 years, you are taking very seriously, more consistent
more
uploads.
serious and more consistent, and also I think just smarter, making videos on better topics and understanding what people want to watch.
Nice. That's great. So Toby, I really hope that with this pace of growth, you can easily achieve 1 million mark maybe in 1 or 2 years. That is quite achievable.
Yeah, well, thank you. And I hope to keep growing my channel as well.
Okay, Toby, so our next question is quite related to our current discussion. On your channel, I can see a lot of practical mathematical videos. You are explaining mathematics using beautiful stories, a lot of theoretical physics videos, and a very few experimental videos on physics. But to be honest, I have enjoyed your experimental videos more than your theoretical videos. So can we see more such experimental videos on your channel anytime soon?
Yeah, so with my experimental videos, I tend to do those when I'm at a university or visiting some of my friends who are based at a university. But since I left my PhD program, actually, I'm no longer, officially a student, and I'm no longer based at a university. So it's a little bit harder for me to get access to some of those quite cool demonstrations. So maybe that's one of the reasons why I do less experimental stuff, and I tend to only do that when I'm visiting friends. But I also enjoy the experimental videos. I would say they're not my main priority though. My main priority now are doing more exam related videos, because people do really like those, and also some more of even getting into like historical aspects, whether it's historical exams or I made a video recently about some of the ancient mathematics and the history of mathematics. I think that's something that I'm really interested in, so I'd say you could expect to see more of those two types, and maybe unfortunately for you, because you enjoy the experiments, they'll probably be a bit more rare.
Okay. Anyway, we are going to miss those experimental videos, isn't it?
Yeah, not so many. There might be a few more long hair ones if I get some inspiration, but yeah.
Okay, so anyway, it's great. You have found your niche, the exam-oriented videos, the historical exam, Asian mathematics. Today you are comparing a lot of question papers. So in your opinion, which is the toughest exam in the world? Yeah,
could I just get you to repeat that question, sorry?
Yeah, my question is, in your opinion, since you are comparing a lot of question papers, which is the toughest exam in the world?
Okay, the toughest exam. Look, I definitely have heard from members of my audience that some of the Indian exams are the hardest in the world, and particularly I've seen the most comments about the JEE Advanced exam, which I guess you might have heard of for Indian students.
Right. I have tried
and I
that.
agree, that's a very difficult exam. I do have a video or two on my channel talking about this JEE exam, and in my first video on it, I do agree that I probably didn't do that exam justice in the way that I probably made it seem like I thought it was easy, and I've received plenty of comments about that, reminding me that it's definitely not easy, and I agree with them. I think that's a very difficult exam. I think a lot of its difficulty, though, comes from just how insanely competitive it is, and that is something that you don't really understand as an outsider sometimes. Just looking at the paper it's hard to capture, how intense people are studying and how competitive it is. So, for that reason, and the questions inherently themselves anyway, I think that makes Indian exams very difficult.
Okay, that's a real compliment. Even I have tried JEE, I couldn't clear that. That's my bad luck.
I agree. Like, I've finished my degree in physics and everything, and so I'm kind of an expert in it, or at least I have a lot of practice. And even I wouldn't pass the JEE Advanced straight up without doing any study. Like, I would have to do some study and remind myself how it all works. I wouldn't pass just having done no study, like, no way. And I actually have a video coming out soon where I'm interviewing some professors at an Australian university to see what they think of the JEE. So that should be on my channel as well soon. So maybe people would find that interesting.
Okay, that's great. So you accept that Indian exams are the toughest in the world. That's a real compliment for the Indians.
I agree that they're very tough. I don't want to, upset anyone from any other countries, because what's also true is that I haven't sat, every exam in the world. But JEE especially, as well as, NEET. I looked at that recently, and I think UPSC, like some of the Indian government exams, all very difficult and all very competitive,
Okay, I have no idea about UPSC, I haven't tried it. Anyway, Toby, we are coming to the last question of this interview. This is about academical career. So you have good background in academical studies, you have been to applied science field, pure mathematics. So could you please guide our viewers who want to pursue their career in science or academical field, how to build a career in this field or how to grow?
So because I've been through the university system, I do have a few pieces of advice, and really they are that if you're a student in like a math or physics course at uni and you want to go on to become a scientist or whatever you want to do, I think you should make an effort to form a relationship with your lecturers in the way that you should be talking to them and asking questions to them, and so they know who you are. Because if you're just coming to the lectures, sitting there and then going home, and you're not really talking to anyone or engaging with anyone, you will learn the content, but you won't make any good connections, and you won't find out about opportunities and maybe jobs and study programs or scholarships that maybe you could apply for. And I find that finding out about those things often comes from being sort of switched on and having connections within the academic world, whether that's lecturers, professors, or just fellow students. I think that can really help you to not just learn the content, but to go on and find opportunities that are good for you. I've spoken on my channel briefly before about how important I think friends are when you're studying. I think that having good, study buddies or people to work on, homework with, or just to, sit with in lectures makes a really big difference, not only to how you feel, but just, that feeling of being part of something and not being alone. So yeah, find friends and talk to people. Don't just sit there and go home. You know, make an effort to build up a community.
So in short, being academically good is only won't be sufficient. You have to build good relationship, good connection with your friends, with your professors. Am I right?
Yeah, try not to just do everything on your own.
So there is a great interview with Toby. It was such a wonderful experience. She gave us a lot of insights. And viewers, before you leave, please check out Toby's channel. It's a wonderful channel of applied mathematics and applied physics. Explore the channel, subscribe to her channel, and please support her. And Toby, once again, thank you for the interview.
Thank you very much.